Hey gamers, yeah, I'm just cleaning up a little bit here after a successful run the night before. Lots of garbage, lots of stuff, lots of stuff. But the reason for this video is we're gonna talk about some different. Oh no, oof, that was stuck there. We need to talk about some collision and pathing problems in this game. Now, I know over time the developer will figure out methods facilitate fixes for some of these things, but inevitably every new game has their quirks and problems, and I'm no slouch for finding them. So we're gonna get into some of this collision-based pathing problems that the AI seems to deal with, and when I'm done, you should be a pro at setting up your barn or your bungalow or wherever, and you'll understand and facilitate your AI with care and consider um, their necessity over yours. I mean, I get it. You want drugs. You want lots of drugs. I get it. But you're not going to get them if your AI is always basically standing around doing nothing or stealing shit off your shelves like a degenerate. So, as it stands, I'm gonna provide you guys as soon as I'm done cleaning up. God, so much mess. All right, one more. You guys have no idea how messy that was. My frame rates were down to like 20s. uh, that's another issue altogether, but we'll deal with that after. So, pathing and collision, right? Everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to understand why this is happening, what's going on. All right, so two basic things. Collision causes a breakdown in the AI's pathing. The AI will want to path through here, and then as soon as they get in here, if they're interacting with something on the other side, say for instance that rack was right here, and they wanted to path in. So I've already tested this. As you can see, I put shelves in so they couldn't walk around. I put another mixing station here next to this so they had to walk around. Now, they walk around only after I put this mixing station here. Otherwise, what they would do, because especially when I had the rack right here, they would interact with the rack coming right through here, and they could slip in there somehow, and then they would get stuck, and that was a problem, because it would bottleneck the entire operation, and it would come to a grinding halt, and nothing would happen. So that was one thing. The simple fix for that is to basically put a dead object behind it. Don't put a rack. And if you're going to put a rack there, put one rack and then another rack and then the rack that you're putting in. You don't want them pathing through here. And even then, if you do that with the racks, they may inevitably try to path through here because for some reason racks and mixing stations and stuff like that, they tend to not coexist properly in some fashion. Like it's just, I don't know what's going on. However, we can mitigate this fully by just simply setting up your mixing stations in this configuration. Especially in the barn, it's a no-brainer. You want to have two next to each other with a space, two next to each other, maybe three next to each other with a space. This is ideal. This is very ideal. You can do it with just stacking them all together, but then you can't technically get through. And the AI can, but again, you want to have your own pathing, let alone the AI's pathing. Now, they can path through here, no problem. Even with stations on the backside, they can path through. However, I want to point out something right here. This station, you could have collision problems with this particular pillar. This one's okay. However, the two of them next to each other like this is okay. You don't want it set up like that, right? It is what it is. You can try it in many other configurations, and it does work. Don't get me wrong, especially if you stagger it like this. For instance, right here, I got these two staggered. They're facing each other. If they were right on top of each other, then it would be sort of the AI would be standing inside of each other the entire time. I don't know if necessarily that's an issue. It just is unsightly looking, and it's unavoidable in some cases, but you can still do a good job of having um, spaced out pathing so that the collision doesn't get break or so the collision doesn't break down inevitably due to pathing loss, and then the AI just doesn't know where to go. Now I'm going to show you some other collision problems that may occur. This kind of spacing, you don't want this. Watch. Come on, get in there, get in there. There we go, there we go. Now we're in, can't get out, right? Your AI would get stuck there too. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to do this. Now I'm really stuck. Can't get out. Can't get out. All right, I'm stuck. See? Your AI cannot do that. But if you were to send your AI to grab something out of this rack here, say for instance, they could slip through here. The AI can slip through here, but I don't have them accessing anything from this rack. But I'm going to show you something that's really sketchy. Right there off that rack into here. So say for instance, I had this rack here. Huh, what was that? Yeah, collision breakdown. So something going on with the drying rack into the storage racks. So again, you don't want your AI to be accessing this area. So just make sure that every bit of the access is from the other side, and everything should be fine. I've had my AI come through here before in certain cases where they're not supposed to, so could even put another shelf in here. However, they can access through here, through there, through here, through there. Like the AI are slimy and slippery like that. They can get into the tiniest little crack, and you want to avoid enticing them to go into those locations. If you do, you may end up losing your AI completely and bottlenecking your entire operation by kneecapping yourself down to a smaller workforce. And you cannot find that AI once it drops into the ground, so you've essentially soft locked your game, and you cannot come back from it. That being said, avoiding these sort of faux pas is sort of important. Again, these are all setups that I've intentionally put together here so that you guys can see the unnecessary ways. And like this is not bad, nothing wrong with it. They can't slip through there. It's nice and tight. So the AI come in on this side. They won't go through here because there's no pathing for them to get through, because that cauldron actually stops them from pathing through there, stops them from pathing through there, so they can never access this area. And again, there's no clipping issues here, even though. But that being said, this is a good cauldron setup. Nothing wrong with it. I know people have a lot of issues with cauldrons. Potentially having more than one breaks the game. So it does that too. And I've had crashes as well, a couple of crashes based on that. But setting up your system like this, where you have a linear fashion with lots of space in between to work, and even this right here is a little tight, but I would want to have that back one more run. However, I set it all up based on what I did here. I was just rushing to try and get this whole barn setup done. This is a new run that I just started a couple days ago, so nothing crazy, but just trying to push through and persevere on a barn run without actually having to go to the docks and have all of my product come out of one location. So as you can see, we're doing really well. Completely full. Racks are full. And the only thing I have is the bungalow is set up to run cannabis. So then I just go over there and pick up what I need with the DHS van and, do my thing. and I just toss it into this rack here, and it gets fed into the system, and the output is that fantastic stuff that you know and love, the slimy slime. Yeah. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys. Again, collision is a bitch, and pathing can be very destructive when it comes to the way in which you locate certain stations and racks. But if you keep these things into consideration as to what I've just said to you, and realize that certain things can be done, certain things can't be done, like right here, you don't want to, yeah, see how that is? There's a collision problem there. But I don't have the AI accessing the backside of this, nor the backside here. They never get past it. So there's no reason for the AI to come around this way. They don't come around back here. They've never come around here. This is all for me. And all their pathing is right through here, right through here, right through here. That is as far as they ever go. And that's as far as I ever want them to go. Anywhere I'm walking, they'll path. But that's about it. And it's a tight run, so they're not going through the entire barn to access locations. Everything's right in the front. It's a really good setup, and it avoids a lot of collision faux pas that I was referring to, and pathing issues. So that being said, hopefully you guys learned something, and we'll see you on the next one. Enjoy. Have a good day.